the only real career security this year and beyond is actually knowing how to turn who you are into income that belongs to you. Welcome to the Holistic Career Change Podcast. Spoiler alert, we don't discuss conventional, linear, boring career change here. This is the place where we talk about finding an aligned career path that feels like an extension of who you are, where you get paid for being yourself. Forget personality quizzes, soul-crushing scrolling on job sites, and breaking your brain trying to find your why. Join me and many other career changers who've changed their career holistically by first defining who they are at their core and then using this blueprint to design a fulfilling career or business. We use the mind-body-soul approach, and we take into consideration the complexity and multidimensionality of all that you are and want to represent in the world. This is where purpose-led careers are born and built. I'm your host, Vilma Osaita. Let's go. Hello, friends. I am back with another episode, and if I may say so myself, I feel like it's an important one because this is about something that we've been talking about for several years now, and currently at the time of the recording in 2026, it really has come into full swing. I'll see how this will age, okay? But my prediction is that this trend that I'm about to talk about with you in this episode is going to be massive in the coming years and even decades to come. And honestly, this has also been kind of living in my chest for a while, and I feel like I just need to get it out and I need to name it and I need to talk about it, okay? So listen, you know that I've been guiding women through career transitions for many, many years, around 10 years at this point. It's been a decade. And I have sat across from some of the most brilliant, accomplished, and also at the same time horrendously misaligned women who were suffering, literally suffering every single day they had to show up and perform in terms of their responsibilities and the jobs, and they essentially had to show up as someone who they are not or who they are not anymore. And that's very expensive in terms of our energy and mental and emotional health. And these women, some of them were with credentials and titles, and, you know, their LinkedIn profiles would make people go, wow, she's really impressive. And almost every single one of them has said some version of the same thing to me, which is, I've done everything right, so why does this feel so wrong? And that question is why I'm here today. And if you've ever whispered that to yourself, you know, at 11 p.m., trying to fall asleep, staring at your ceiling, this episode is for you, but also for anyone else who's going through career change, has already changed career, because I feel like this will be very validating for you as well. Okay, but first I want to talk about where we actually are right now. Okay, because I think a lot of us have been kind of walking around with a vague sense that something has shifted. The job market is rearranging as we speak. And it's not just about AI, even though AI has obviously been playing a very big role in this, but many of us, we've been calling it burnout or, you know, the wrong job or a rough season. But I really want to name, no BS here, want to name what's actually happening. And I've even dug out some stats for you. And I will add, by the way, all the references in the show notes if you want to check out these full reports. Okay, so here's what the numbers are communicating to us. Over 80%, 83% of professionals are reporting burnout right now. That's the highest number we've ever had in the history of work that's been recorded. 6 in 10 are staying in jobs that they genuinely hate, and they stay out of fear, which is very understandable. 64% of employees are disengaged from the work, more than half. Almost 2/3 of employees, you can look at your colleagues at work, most of them are disengaged in spite of how they're appearing. And also a big trend that we've been seeing is entry-level hiring, especially when it comes to tech sector. So at the top of 15 tech companies dropped by nearly a quarter in one single year in the past year, which is really scary for some of us. And I also was reading this McKinsey report, which was telling us that around 14% of the global workforce will be forced to change careers by 2030. In just 4 years. We've never seen anything like this, ever. Some people say since Industrial Revolution, I say ever. At this rapid pace and at this scale, we've never seen job market being rearranged in front of our eyes. So this is really serious, you guys. And I don't want to scare you. I want to give you a solution, and I want to share with you how to be ahead of this and how not to become a victim of what we're experiencing right now. Okay? Because these are not just numbers. These are the people in our lives. And these numbers represent you as well. I would assume, because you're listening to a Career Change podcast. Okay? Perhaps some of you are staying, you're waiting, hoping it gets better, living in fear, telling yourself, okay, one more year. I hear it so many times from my clients. They're like, Vilma, I need to stay till the bonus. I need to stay till the end of the year because A, B, C, D, E. But the career ladder, the problem is that the career ladder that we were all sold, especially for us millennials, okay? Work hard, stay loyal, climb the ladder. It was already unstable when we entered the market. Many of us entered the market, at the first financial crisis, not the first, but a really big one in 2008. And now someone is kicking that ladder while we're still standing on it. And that makes me so angry, guys. I get so passionate about this. Okay? And one of the reasons why I'm so upset is because when the market shifts, when things get scary, when the restructure email lands, or when the hiring freeze gets announced, the advice usually that we are flooded with is very similar. And I feel like is extremely outdated, which is, hey, update your resume. Hey, get another certification, or maybe do a little skill up level course, do one of those, LinkedIn, up level courses. Optimize your profile on LinkedIn. You need to network. Just talk to everyone. Or just apply for more roles just in case. And listen, I understand it's our survival, it's our bread and butter, it's our financial security. I get why women do this. I really do. It feels like I'm taking action. I'm being proactive. It feels productive. It feels like you are taking control. But are you taking control? Because I've watched this pattern play out hundreds of times. Like brilliant women spend 6 months overhauling their resume. They land a new role, for example, and they feel a relief for maybe 3 to 6 months. And then the same dread will come back. The same ceiling, the same Sunday night feeling, the same nervous system dysregulation. And then she thinks she made the wrong move again. But what I want to shout from the rooftops, she hasn't made the wrong move. She just used the wrong medicine. Let me say that again. She didn't make the wrong move. She used the wrong medicine. And let me explain what I mean by that. Underneath this, I shared the numbers with you. Underneath this job dissatisfaction, underneath the overthinking, the fear of making the wrong pivot, it's usually an glaring identity crisis. And we cannot solve an identity crisis with a new LinkedIn optimized profile. Okay? Because these career tools that I shared with you, like optimize your LinkedIn profile, get a course, network more, these are career tools that the industry will hand us to us and will say, okay, focus on this. The assessments, the frameworks, the 5-step pivot plans, they're designed for strategy problems. They're designed to solve strategy problems. But what so many of you are experiencing is an identity problem, not a strategy problem. That's why you are so stuck. That's why you are stuck in that start-stop cycle. That's why you are taking one step and then 15 steps back, because you're confused. And strategic solutions do not solve the identity gap. Okay, they are not the same thing. When we apply strategy to identity wound, we just end up getting very busy and very stuck at the same time. And I know that some of you resonate with that, where I'm like, listen, Vilma, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Especially those of you who are type A. Hello, I'm type A as well. I get it. We get busy. We take action. We're like, okay, let me talk to this one. Let me apply. Let me do this. But all while we're moving, we are feeling better because obviously we're not tuning in, right? We are taking action. We are keeping ourselves busy. We think that we're moving forward, but are we really moving forward, or are we just killing time? Avoiding to address and to feel all of the feelings, including grief, including for some of us, a sense of failure. Some of us had invested years in our careers. And now that it's not working anymore, or we are being pushed out of roles, or we decide that we need to pivot out, there is a sense of failure attached to it. I definitely felt that. I'm so transparent about this. When I was moving from corporate, I talked about this so many times on this podcast. Like, it took me 3 years of grief, of like, oh my effing God, I invested so much time, so much money. My family invested so much money in me getting education abroad. I was supposed to be settled. I was supposed to be the stable one, right? But really what was happening, and what's happening for a lot of you, you are living in an identity problem. That's it. Okay? That's the pattern, and that's what's been costing so many years for many of us to find a solution out of it. Okay? And after some time, some of you, by the way, if you get made redundant and you're looking for another position, you are so fed up with playing that game of running in that hamster wheel. So sometimes I see people, they just jump off it. And it feels like we're giving up because we can't go on all the time. We're too dysregulated. We're too tired. We're too fed up. We don't see a way out. It's just, I can't do it anymore. And I don't know what I should be doing instead. So I am stuck. I literally have no directions. And yet, at the same time, everything is a potential direction. What a tough place to be at. Because we know we can't go back to the old world, that old identity. We're not that person anymore. Okay, and it doesn't matter whether we have left on our own accord or we've been forced out. We know we can't stay for much longer, even if we're still in these positions. But then where do you go? What do you do? And that's what I want to remind you of in this episode. Okay, if I'm completely honest, and this is kind of the main message of the episode, because I know, because I've been talking to a lot of you. I'm talking to a lot of you every single day. I'm having these conversations, and I feel like so many of you need to hear this. So many of you are placing the emphasis on the wrong, or betting on a wrong thing. What I'm seeing right now, what they're showing me is so dramatic, is Titanic, sinking ship. When in all actuality, the only real career security this year and beyond is actually knowing how to turn who you are into income that belongs to you. I'm pausing deliberately because I want, it, but I feel like we all need that reminder. That's the solution. That's how we stay ahead. The only real career security is learning how to turn who you are, what your actual unique gifts and passions are, into income that belongs to you. And it doesn't mean that all of you need to get into business. Again, when I look at charts, when I tune into energy of people who talk to me, like, it's not aligned with everyone to run a business. 100% true. But still, it's the mindset shift. We want to be in control of that. That's the only career security that we have. Not your job title, not your degree, not your employer's brand on your resume. You yourself, your specific way of seeing the world. The problems only you can solve the way that you can solve them. Because even when we're in the same niche, or we're in the same modalities, or we offer the same service or product, we do it differently from anyone else in the world. Because it has our own energetic frequency attached to that. It has the accumulated wisdom of your whole life, not just your professional one, your whole life. And that, by the way, cannot be restructured away. that cannot be made redundant. AI can't replace that, because that, whatever that beautiful concoction is authentically yours. I've been preaching that. My whole podcast is about that. My whole body of work is about that. But I just feel like it's never been more true than it is right now. We're literally seeing this play out in front of our very own eyes. We cannot trust the system anymore. We cannot trust the industries, our jobs, our employers, our bosses who tell us that they love us and we are overperforming and we're the MVP of our team. And the next day, our access to our email is suspended and we're being told that we are being let go. Makes zero sense, but that is what's happening every single day right now. And I feel like this is also where a lot of the ancient wisdom traditions that I work with come in, because they've been saying this for thousands of years. The most valuable thing you carry isn't your output that you can offer. It's your essence. It's the specific energy, the intelligence, the gifts that you came here with. I think it was a Mark Twain that said, I just saw this quote the other day, and it's an old quote we all know, but I feel like I keep on seeing it every now and then where I'm like, oh my goodness, that's such a great quote, which is, the most important day is when you're born. The second most important day when you find out why. I'm kind of butchering it a little bit. It's not exactly that, but that's a sentiment. And I could not agree more with that. I cannot agree more with that. Yeah. So again, that most valuable thing that we carry isn't what the output. It's our essence, what we have within, okay? And when your work is an expression of that unique energy and intelligence, when it's built from the inside out, it's not just going to feel different, it will be performed differently, you will earn differently, and it will sustain you differently. And yes, it may require you going against the grain, 100%. It's not the easiest path, because pursuing things that are truly aligned with you will probably raise some eyebrows. There's going to be judgment spoken or perceived judgment, but there's going to be all of that. There is going to be resistance inside of us and outside of us that we're going to have to overcome. But you doing that is exactly what will take you to that Monday morning we all dream about, that Monday morning where you wake up not to dread, not to that familiar heaviness and anxiety that sits in your chest at all times. Before you even opened up your eyes, some of you already feel that, but just something that feels like excitement and joy. You guys, when I was in corporate, I did not believe the stories that people tell, like, oh, I am so looking forward to Monday because I can't wait to do what I love, or like, I can't wait to show up for my business. I can't wait to, get up and be at my workplace. I'll be like, that's bullshit. They're lying. That's just not possible. I've not met any single person in real life, IRL, who would be excited for Mondays. Everyone has Sunday scaries. That's the norm. Until I found something that I love to do, where like literally, I'm working over the weekend sometimes. I do take a lot of time out. Don't get me wrong. I have Wednesdays off. I have Saturdays off. Most of the times I have Sundays off. Sundays is my prep day. That's where I do my meal prep. That's where I kind of plan my week. So then Monday arrives. I already know what I'm doing, but I generally am looking forward to Mondays. You know a lot. The reason why this podcast comes out on Mondays is because Monday is my favorite. It's my favorite day of the week. And I never thought that would be possible. So you wake up each Monday, excitement. You make your coffee, you open up your computer, or whatever it is that you do, and the work that is waiting for you there feels like yours. It feels like an extension of who you actually are. It feels like playground. It's like, what are we gonna create today? What feels true to me today? What sparkles to me today? It's like having that sort of career is almost like someone finally looking at the fullest version of you and said, yes, let's build from that place. And then your income will belong to you. Your direction will belong to you. No one can restructure that. No hiring freeze can touch it. No bad quarter can threaten it. Yes, there's going to be ups and downs. Yes, it's going to be, school of hard knocks sometimes when we're on a aligned path for a reason, because it's not just about the aligned income. It's also about who I become in the process of pursuing that authenticity. And this is what I want to build toward to in this episode, right? That's the real destination. So, okay. So we covered that. So how did we get there? And there are obviously many different paths that you can take. There are many different teachers who talk about the how to get that. But today I'm going to share with you a few strategies to get there. And I want them to be practical, okay? Because this is not just about philosophy and me constantly reminding you that you deserve to have an abundant life, you deserve to have a fulfilled life. A lot of it can be practical as well. All right, because I know you didn't come here just for the, philosophy. You come here for the, so what do I do now? Okay, so there are 3 things I want all of you listening to this podcast to get clear on. Again, this is relevant even for you if you are in the middle of your career change. Maybe you have a direction. It's so healthy to always reevaluate if I'm still on an aligned track, if it still makes sense to me. It's so healthy. I do it all the time. Okay. So before you send another application, before you have another freak out session, before you cry yourself to sleep, I'm not making fun of you. I know it's very real. I've been there. I coach on that every single day. I get it. Okay. Before you do any of that busy work, the first question, I want you to sit down, get your journal, and I want us to journal now. Okay. The first question I want you to write down is, what do you actually own? What do you actually own? And let me give you an example to make this come to life a little bit. That question, actually, I'm kind of thinking of one specific client I worked with a few years back, and that one question opened up a treasure trove for her. That changed everything. So she was a senior strategist. She had spent definitely over 10 years, I think 12 or 13 years, building her reputation inside one company. She was the committed one. She came in, she was climbing the ladder. And then when they were restructuring, her role simply disappeared. And they didn't offer her, they were not in a position to offer her any other role. No, I think no other departments had openings, right? So she felt like she had lost everything. She had lost her identity, her status, her sense of direction. Because up until then, she knew where she was going next. She knew about the different roles. She knew what she needed to achieve, the clients that she needed to close, the presentation she needed to make. She had a manual how to get to the next step. And suddenly, all of that was taken away, like in a matter of a week. That shakes you to your core, and you're left like a messy pile of what the F? What do I do now? And who even am I anymore? You question everything. And when I asked her, what did that company actually own? It owned your title, yes. Internal cloud, yes. The access to their specific network, yes. That's what it was owned by the company. But what she owned was her ability to walk into any room full of chaos and see the patterns underneath it and see how to organize it and structure it. She owned her ability to make people feel genuinely understood in any negotiation. She owned her specific way of building trust with the kind of clients that everyone else found impossible to work with. She was like a difficult client whisperer. We all need those. Every business needs those. This was hers. It had always been hers. She just hadn't separated it from the container that they had assigned to her, that someone else decided to assign to her. And when she did, the dots started connecting. She knew exactly what she was selling, and it had nothing to do with her job title. Okay, so I want you to sit down and answer, what do you own? I know that some gremlins will show up. They'll tell you own nothing. They'll tell you know nothing. But I really want you to lean in and do this more of like a brain dump. Do this more as a stream of consciousness. Don't question it. Just allow yourself to do kind of like you do morning pages. I know some of you are doing that with the artist way. Just let the stream of consciousness come out. The second question I want you to write down is, what problem are you excited to solve that people could pay for outside of your current structure? Notice how a lot of the times you will have similar questions in more kind of traditional career development spaces, but they will ask you, what problem can you solve that people will pay for? And I don't feel like that's the right question, because many of you are extremely capable at doing things that are misaligned with your true self. You are extremely capable and you look extremely functional in many environments, but that doesn't mean that that work is meant for you. It just means that you are well adjusted, you have great work ethics, and you're reliable. But that doesn't mean that these things, these qualities, these skills are the ones that will take you to an aligned and abundant future. So the real question that I think will lead you to a much more sustainable career or business is, what problem are you excited to solve that people will probably pay for? And honestly, even the last part I would drop probably, because people will pay for anything, you guys. Look at the TikTok shop. I mean, I don't buy anything from TikTok shop, but I hear that people buy a lot of stuff on the TikTok shop. And I'm not sure all of it is useful. Most women have never had to answer this question because their employees gave them the container and a job description. They told them what problems they need to solve, so they just became very good at it. The structure, the clients, the deliverables, and now, again, whether by choice or by force, they're being asked to build their own container. And it's so normal that they freeze because nobody ever taught them how to find it. Again, so if you're having resistance to answer the question and your mind goes blank and you're like, I don't know, no idea, stay with this question until something comes. Stay with this. Give this a chance. Okay? Because if you're sitting there, racking your brain, asking yourself what you should do next, you're asking yourself the wrong question. Again, that question is not going to generate a lot of aligned directions and a lot of aligned options for you. What you want to do is ask yourself, what happens when I show up in my most authentic life? When I work with people? When people follow your thinking? What happens when I bring something uniquely mine into this world? That's the thing that's worth monetizing. And I have the third angle and a third question for you. And I think that's the one that most conventional career advice completely ignores. It's like very few touches that, and that is closing the identity gap that I told you about. This is where I see the most pain. This is why I developed a holistic approach to career change in the first place, because that's the most important piece. But at the same time, it's not the visible piece. It's kind of like an iceberg. When we talk about traditional career change advice, it only covers the tip of the iceberg that we actually see. Majority of work is underneath the water, and that's the biggest part, which is identity, belief work, energy work, all that requires you to close the identity gap. Because very often the women who feel stuck in their career, they're lacking alignment between who they've become and the work that they're still doing. That's the biggest gap. That's the biggest identity gap that I see all the time. Okay? Because many of you have grown, you've evolved, but the work that once fit perhaps like a glove that you're excited about now feels 2 sizes too small. And yet we're told that we need to keep trying to make it fit by adjusting from the outside. Different companies, different roles, different titles, different industries, and wondering why nothing sticks. It doesn't stick because the shift needs to happen inside first. And I know it's so annoying and so boring. I get it. I'm impatient too. I get it, you guys. And yet, that's the only way, again, to build a strong foundation for the future. Identity before strategy, always. And that's exactly why the women that I watch get ahead right now. And when I say get ahead, what I mean is they feel empowered by the changing world and all the changes that we see right now, including the job market, security changing, like all of the illusion that we had about, well, as long as I get a well-paid job and a good benefit package, I'm sorted for the rest of my life. BS. That was never the case, but now the companies are not even pretending that it's the case anymore. the AI taking over, right? Those women that I say that they're ahead is they feel empowered by those changes versus feeling fearful and threatened. Okay, they feel empowered in a way that feels good, not just impressive. Okay, these are the ones who stopped waiting to be chosen by a system, by employer, by a job, by a role, by a job description. That was never fully designed to choose them. They stopped waiting to be chosen. This is your permission to choose yourself. Because again, these women that I see now getting quote unquote ahead, they are the ones who decided that the fullest version of themselves is their only strategy. How can I show up in the world that allows me to feel like myself and most alive? That is my strategy. And then they do wake up feeling differently. I hear it in the voices, I see it in the faces. There's that quality of excitement, but also acceptance and calmness and groundedness. So many of you, by the way, not calling you out because I know that it's such an unconscious pattern that so many of us can be guilty of, is you resist. You live in resistance. You resist your boss. You resist your responsibilities. You resist your inbox. You resist Zoom meetings. You resist your routines. You resist gym. You just resist. You can't, you don't get me wrong, you still show up, but you show up in resistance. And that is such an energy thief, I cannot even tell you. There are areas of my life or things that I am currently resisting, and I can see how much it affects my overall mood and my energy levels. Because I almost like form this cognitive bias where there are certain things that I look at them, I only see the negative and I want to reject them and push them away and don't focus on them. But as you know, whatever we resist will persist. So it becomes even more in my face. And so many of you do that with your day job. Of like, oh, I'm annoyed. Oh, I can't be bothered. Oh, another meeting. Oh, and I get it. It's misaligned. But you spending energy on resisting it is stealing the energy from your future self who could be building a different life, an exit plan, a business, whatever it is. It's an energy management exercise. So we can accept that I'm not happy at my work. We can accept that I'm going to leave. We can lean into that acceptance and then reclaim the energy and use that for the exit plan. That's my sincere advice. It's so subtle, you guys, but it can make such a difference. Right? Because I look at some of my clients who have already done this, who've chosen yourself, given themselves permission to put themselves first, to be proactive around the changes that are happening in the marketplace. Right? They stopped then looking over the shoulder for someone else to validate their direction. They just don't do that anymore. They finally came home to themselves. And then from that place, the work will flow, the money flows, the opportunities find them in ways that feel almost, and I'm going to use this word intentionally, it almost feels fated. So many examples. That's available for you too. These are not some unicorns. That's available for you too. And that's what this work creates. And I know that sometimes it sounds woo or too good to be true, but that's the name of this game. We're always evolving. And the way that we change the outside circumstances is by changing our internal settings and then our point of attraction when we change those internal settings. Because right now, for many of us who are still stuck in those systems, it's more like, pick me, choose me. Who else do you want me to become so I could, please you in some ways? When I tune into the energy of some of the corporate structures, and again, I don't want to sound like someone who's like a corporate hater. There are a lot of amazing organizations, a lot of amazing value-driven startups. Again, not everyone needs to be a business owner, but it's more about taking control of your career narrative, not waiting to be chosen, not hoping that someone will notice you. That's not going to happen. Is deciding who and what you will tolerate. Is deciding that making aligned money is easy and fun. Is deciding that you deserve to feel fulfilled and abundant on the daily. Not just every now and then, not on holidays. On the daily, I'm choosing to feel fulfilled and abundant on the daily. And guess what? You know, the whole law of attraction spiel. I have an episode about it, the recent one, about the frequency. Go back, listen to that if you haven't yet. You can actually choose to feel all of that before it becomes your reality. And that's how you turn it into your reality. I can choose to feel abundant today. And deciding that you're unavailable for anything less than that. I decide to be unavailable for anything less than that. No, thank you. Right? And while I do believe that each and every one of us are on our perfect timelines, it's always the case. But if you already have been feeling that inner fire to do things differently and to bet on yourself, please do it now. Do it now. Ride the energy. Because every single month spent trying to solve an identity problem with strategy tools that so many of you are doing is another month of compounding misalignment. Another month of reinforcing the belief that you can't trust yourself to make the right move. And that belief, by the way, that I can't trust myself, again, it compounds. It gets heavier. It makes the next decision harder than it needs to be. So this episode is the reminder that the window to get ahead of this, whatever rearrangement we're seeing in the market, to build something that actually belongs to you before the next wave will hit, God knows what that will be, that time is now. The time is now. You're not too late. This is the time. And this is not the season where we're waiting it out. It's the season to get clear and take action. Okay? So if this is landing, please make sure that you answer those 3 questions. Okay? Because the first step is finding out what you're actually here to do and how to monetize it in a way that's built around who you are, around your human design, around your chart, around your Enneagram, whatever systems that you use. I lean on a bunch of them. Start with these 3 questions that I've given you. Trust me, if you regularly do a little meditation, sit down and free write, it will give you so many aha moments. And then your job is to trust it. Don't question it. And as per usual, if you've been at this for a while and you still feel stuck and you need some support, make sure you reach out to me for a quick 30-minute chat. We will pull your chart, I'll check your energy, and we chat about aligned directions for you. So then you can identify, commit, and go all in this year. We're not waiting for the next year. We're going on ill this year. We still got a lot of year left. And then you can live in a completely new reality by the end of the year because the timelines are moving really quickly right now. Shifts are happening really quickly once you commit. But if you're 1 foot in and 1 foot out, the universe can't support you. No one can support you because you have not committed and decided that it's actually happening for you. Okay, so that's what I have for you today. It's a lot of, I guess, love, but some of it is tough love. And maybe there were moments where some of you felt called out, but I hope you know that it's coming from passion that I have for, first of all, for my work. Second of all, I feel like we all need that reminder because it's so easy to listen to the news, you know, especially with all the geopolitical, oh my goodness, I don't even want to go there. There's so much instability right now, and it's so easy to feel disempowered during this time. And my goal with this podcast is to always remind you that there are things that you have control over. And our job is to focus on those and grow them. Because God knows there's going to be more and more things that are happening around us that we'll have no control over. And us focusing on that is just going to derail from our own fulfillment, happiness, and abundance. Okay. So that's what I have for you. Hopefully this is a timely reminder where whenever you're listening to this, I feel like the reminder is always the same. You are your safest investment. You are your job security. And it's such a potent time to put this into action now. You guys, you've so got this. I believe in you. Have a magical week. Thank you for spending time with me today. If you enjoy this content, please make sure you subscribe to this podcast and leave a quick review to help us share the message of aligned work with the world. And if you'd like to learn more about how to find and transition into your very own purpose-led career or business that feels like getting paid for being yourself, make sure you check out the episode notes below. Have a wonderful week.